Hello everyone, Pro Wrestling Junkie here. It is now August in 2017, which means it is the end of summertime. Now growing up for most kids, the end of summer meant it's time to return to school. Well, myself growing up, the end of summer meant it is time for Summerslam. And in this episode of Nostalgic Wrestling, we will be discussing the 1992 WWF SummerSlam pay-per-view event that took place on August 29th, 1992 at Wembley Stadium in London, England. This is the very first pay-per-view event I ever watched live, okay? Before this, the only way for me to see a pay-per-view would be watching it months after it aired by renting a VHS tape in a local video store. This is a historical event on many levels. The card consisted of 8 matches that are loaded with legends and future Hall of Famers. This is still to date the only major WWF pay-per-view to take place outside of North America, as this was held at the world-famous Wembley Stadium in London, England. Now, Wembley Stadium was opened back in 1923. It held the 1948 Olympics, 5 European Cup finals, numerous musical acts such as Celine Dion, Madonna, Guns N' Roses, and the King of Pop himself, Michael Jackson. So we know this arena has history, and the fans who attended the show on this night were incredibly passionate for the sport of professional wrestling. At the beginning of the pay-per-view, we are shown scenic shots from London and get to see fans celebrating before the show, giving their predictions and shout-outs for various superstars. I do want to point out that Wembley Stadium is an open-top arena, and it's daytime when the show begins, nighttime at the end. Now, this is something we are more accustomed to currently because WrestleManias are being held in larger stadiums. But back then, this was not so common, and I always enjoyed having that added element to a show of going from day to evening. The cameras cut to the live audience, and we can see just how massive the crowd is in attendance. Vince McMahon and Bobby the Brain Heenan introduce the show. Vince addresses the topic of the night, which is, whose corner will Mr. Perfect be in during the WWF title match? Okay, match number 1. We have Money Inc., $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and IRS with Jimmy Hart as their manager, versus the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal with Paul Ellering. Hawk and Animal, along with their manager Paul Ellering, ride out on Harleys. LOD is wearing gold spikes on their shoulders. Awesome sight to see. The crowd is super hyped as we begin the action. The bout begins as a typical tag match with steady action. IRS and DiBiase work over Hawk until Animal finally makes the hot tag. As LOD sets up for the Doomsday device, Jimmy Hart distracts the ref, which allows IRS to dropkick Animal, which makes the save. However, before Money Inc. is able to mount a comeback, Animal Irish whips DiBiase into IRS while he is standing on the ring apron. DiBiase spins right around into a power slam by Animal, who gets the pinfall and the victory. Great match, nothing too outstanding, but the live crowd definitely ate it up. Backstage, we have Nature Boy Ric Flair being interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund. Flair is upset for not receiving the rematch for the WWF title after losing it to Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 8. Flair teases whose corner his executive consultant Mr. Perfect will be in, Warrior or Macho. Former $1 Million champion Virgil is interviewed by Sean Mooney before his match with Nails. Virgil delivers a very short promo consisting of a few common phrases, including an MC Hammer quote. We get a shot of the WWF hotline number for fans to call in to speak with LOD and all winners from matches tonight at a fee of $1.49 per minute, 99 cents each additional minute. Kids, make sure you ask your parents for permission, as always. Our second match of the night is Nails versus Virgil. We go back to ringside and we see Nails already in the ring. I guess because the entrance ramp is so long, they didn't want to have the viewers actually sit and have to watch all of the stars make that long walk to the ring. Thankfully, Virgil makes his entrance by running to the ring. This was a total squash match. Nails Irish whips Virgil, catches him in a sleeper that looks more like a chokehold. The ref declares Nails the winner when Virgil passes out. Nails then attacks and chokes Virgil with the nightstick. Nothing much to it. Alfred Hayes is outside Macho Man Randy Savage's dressing room. He tries to knock on the door and then shares with the audience that he has heard rumors that Mr. Perfect may be inside the room. Mean Gene Okerlund interviews Sensational Sherry regarding her relationship with HBK and Rick Martel. We get a recap of the rivalry that caused this match, which led the competitors to agree to not hit each other in the face during the match because Sherry couldn't bear for either of them to have a bruised face. Match number 3, no hitting in the face stipulation. Shawn Michaels with Sherry versus Rick the Model Martel. Martel enters dressed as a preppy tennis player. Sherry walks the whole ramp carrying the mirror for Shawn. That couldn't have been easy. The star of this match was easily Sherry's ring attire. Michaels and Martel trade shots and tease hitting each other in the face, but the ref and Sherry keep reminding them that they cannot do that. Finally, Shawn slaps Martel and Sherry gets on the ring apron to protest them from hitting each other in the face. When she sees they are not listening, she faints and rolls onto the floor. Shawn tries to revive her. Martel pushes him aside and attempts to do CPR, sort of. Shawn has had enough of this and strikes Martel in the face, and the two battle up the ramp towards the back. We see Sherry sit up and realize that their focus is completely turned away from her, and then she faints again. Officials pull Shawn and Rick apart. Shawn goes back to help Sherry. He swings her up over his shoulder. Martel breaks free from the officials and attacks Shawn, who ends up dropping Sherry. Martel picks up Sherry himself and tries to carry her to the back. Shawn then attacks from behind, and Sherry goes rolling to the floor again. You even hear Bobby Heenan saying, "Why don't they just roll her to the back?" Finally, Martel is walked to the back by the officials. Presumably, they told him, "Hey, that's enough of this. We need to move on with the show." So Shawn picks up Sherry and carries her to the back, and we move on. No, not yet, because Martel is back out with a bucket of something in his hands. He teases throwing whatever it is in the bucket at Shawn while he's still holding Sherry. Martel dumps the bucket of water on Sherry to finally wake her up. Shawn ends up chasing Martel behind the curtains to the backstage while Sherry is left soaked and screaming in the middle of the aisle and then runs to the back herself. Now, this match had a lot of potential if it was a straight wrestling match, without all the comedy bits. The bizarre stipulation of no hitting in the face added nothing of excitement, and instead it just kept this match from building any kind of momentum. Sean Mooney interviews the Nasty Boys with Jimmy Hart, but they show signs of being displeased with Jimmy Hart for not having a title match on the card tonight. Match number 4, the WWF Tag Team titles are on the line as the Natural Disasters defend the titles against the Beverly Brothers. After we get a short poem from the Genius, there is a sneak attack by the Beverly Brothers just as the bell rings. The Beverlys isolate Typhoon for most of the match. Blake strikes Typhoon with the Genius Scroll and attempts a pin, but Earthquake is able to make the save. Typhoon makes a tag which allows Earthquake to deliver a belly-to-belly suplex to Bo. Earthquake slams and then drops the splash to win, and the Natural Disasters retain the titles. Another quick match, really just as a way to fill time, nothing real spectacular. Gene Okerlund interviews the Bushwhackers, inquiring their opinion on whose corner they think Mr. Perfect will be in during the WWF title match. Okay, let's pause for a minute. This is something I feel the current WWE product is missing. Whenever we have a major storyline happening, the rosters are full of mid-card talent that could be utilized to be included in interview segments where they discuss and give their own thoughts regarding what other superstars are feuding over. This also allows the company to show that all of the stars are aware of everything that is happening within the show and not just their own individual storyline, something I think is drastically missing. Okay, back to SummerSlam 1992. Lord Alfred Hayes is shown outside the Warriors dressing room. He believes that Mr. Perfect is inside. Match number 5 is Crush versus the Repo Man. Crush catches the Repo Man's flying attempt into a power slam, but instead of going for the pin, he applies the Crush submission and gets the win. Another squash match with not much to say. Mean Gene Okerlund is backstage for more about whose corner will Mr. Perfect be in. We are then shown highlights to recap the feud between Warrior and Savage leading to the title match. The highlights include the brief tag team of the Ultimate Maniacs where Warrior and Savage battled the Nasty Boys for the tag team titles. Match number 6, WWF title match. Macho Man Randy Savage defends the title against the Ultimate Warrior. And whose corner will Mr. Perfect be in? The two competitors battle back and forth with some really great action. Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair show up midway through the match, and we still don't know whose corner is Perfect going to be in. Until Perfect trips up Savage and gives us the impression that he is siding with the Warrior, who now attacks Savage from behind. There is a ref bump which delays a pin attempt by Warrior. As Warrior argues with the referee, Savage drives a knee into Warrior's back, which causes him to knock the referee completely out of the ring. Savage executes a pile driver to Warrior and then goes outside to revive the ref. At the same time, Mr. Perfect comes into the ring and stands up Warrior, and we think he's doing this to help him, but no! He holds Warrior so that the Nature Boy can strike Warrior with brass knuckles. Now Savage doesn't know what happened and he brings the ref back in, scoop slams Warrior before dropping a flying elbow drop and making a pin attempt. Unfortunately, the ref makes a very slow count and Warrior is able to kick out. Ultimate Warrior shakes off the hits from Savage and begins to go into his rage mode. He gorilla press slams Savage, then runs to the ropes. Perfect misses trying to trip Warrior as Warrior runs to the opposite side of the ring. Ric Flair connects with a hard chair shot to the back. Randy Savage collects himself, and as he gets up, he sees that the Warrior is knocked out, but he didn't do it, so who did it? Perfect taunts Savage from outside, but is swatted away. Savage, seemingly struggling from within, climbs to the top rope. We hear Vince on commentary screaming, "All Macho Man has to do is connect with the flying elbow, and he will retain the title." As the pro-Warrior crowd continues to shout for Savage to do the right thing, Savage pauses on the top rope. And we see that he realizes that Perfect and Flair were never in favor of either of them. They were just in business for themselves. He now jumps to attack Flair, but Flair swings a chair shot right at Savage's knee. Savage is now badly injured on his knee and can't get back in the ring, and the ref counts him out. Warrior is declared the winner by countout, but no titles can change hands on a countout, so Macho Man is still your champion. Perfect and Flair continue to attack Savage and work over his knee. Finally, the Warrior chases them back to the back. Ultimate Warrior returns to the ring. He gets the WWF title and hands it to Savage as a sign of respect. He helps Savage stand and hold the title and helps Savage get to the back. This was an incredible match. This action was amazing from the top to beginning to middle, everywhere, for sure. But the star of this match, hands down, was the beautiful storytelling by all four legends. Mean Gene Okerlund interviews Mr. Perfect and Flair in the locker room. Vince McMahon on commentary announces that there are 80,355 in attendance, although many wrestling historians have questioned that being a much higher number. There are rumors that Vince did not want any show to have a higher attendance record than the 93,000 plus that was in attendance for WrestleMania 3. Hey, believe that for what you want. Match number 7, The Undertaker versus Kamala. Dr. Harvey Wimpleman is in the ring to introduce Kamala and his handler Kimchi. Next, we have Paul Bearer in front of a hearse, complete with a casket inside, with The Undertaker standing on the back being driven to the ring. This is creepy and cool and easily the highlight of the entire match. Harvey shakes the ropes as Taker attempts his walking rope clothesline. He attacks both Harvey and Kimchi, and Kamala strikes from behind. Undertaker hits a flying clothesline and sets up for the tombstone, but Kimchi hits Taker with his helmet for the DQ. Kamala attacks Undertaker as the bell rings. He delivers a slam and a second rope splash. Kimchi tells him to jump from the top, and he hits a bigger splash. As Kamala leaves the ring, he sees Undertaker sit up, which terrifies him, and the Undertaker stalks all three of them up the ramp to the back. We now get the final interviews with British Bulldog and Bret the Hitman Hart before the main event. They both make mention of how this match has pressure from being in front of 80,000 plus in attendance, and the pressure from their families being affected by this match because they are brother-in-laws. That's right, British Bulldog is married to Bret Hart's sister. Next, the Highlander Bagpipers performed, and former Intercontinental Champion Hot Rod Roddy Piper joined in. Sean Mooney interviews Diana Hart-Smith, that's right, British Bulldog's wife, Bret Hart's sister, from ringside. Main event, WWF Intercontinental title match. Bret the Hitman Hart defends against the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. British Bulldog is accompanied to the ring by the reigning Commonwealth Heavyweight Boxing Champion and London native Lennox Lewis, waving the British flag. Amazing back and forth confrontation. Lots of power moves from Bulldog and many displays of the technical skill of Hart. After several minutes of back and forth action and numerous looks of concern from Diana, Hart applies the sharpshooter, but Bulldog does not submit and makes it to the ropes. Bulldog Irish whips Hart to set up for a backflip. Hart sunset flips, but Bulldog drops his knees and grabs Hart's legs into a pinfall out of nowhere. The arena goes completely nuts. Now, this match is the match of the night, and this is British Bulldog's greatest match of his entire career. Pro Wrestling Illustrated named it Match of the Year in the magazine's year-end issue. In addition, many historians have regarded this match to be the greatest in the entire history of SummerSlam. Hart shows disappointment and resentment, makes attempts to leave as the crowd boos, but instead they hug it out and celebrate together. Diana joins the celebration, and all three raise hands. Interesting facts. SummerSlam 1992 was originally planned to be held in Washington, D.C. The WWF changed the location to Wembley Stadium in the hopes of increasing the revenue from the event. Now, originally, WWF Intercontinental Champion Bret Hart was going to defend and lose the title to Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam. Because of the change in venue, WWF decided to replace Shawn with British Bulldog winning the title because he was from London. Now, British Bulldog was victorious at SummerSlam, but he only held the title for a couple of months before losing it to Shawn Michaels on an episode of Saturday Night Main Event. SummerSlam was a financial success for the WWF. Not only did it bring in $2.2 million in revenue from admissions, they also sold $1.4 million in merchandise, which is the largest amount of merchandise revenue sold at a WWF event. And that is all she wrote, folks. If you noticed anything we may have skipped over on this show, please comment and also share with me what your thoughts were on this historic pay-per-view. This show is sponsored by the wonderful people at That Wrestling Club. You can subscribe for a monthly box of awesome wrestling-related items by going to thatwrestlingclub.com, and be sure to use the checkout code PopCultureJunkie. That will save you 10% on your first box. You can see more of myself by checking out my YouTube channel, Pop Culture Junkie, where I review all topics of pop culture-related treasures, including pro wrestling. I will see you on the next episode of Nostalgia Wrestling, and remember, to be the man, you gotta beat the man.